Let's talk about what you're doing after you beat Johnny B. Bad for the world's television title in January of 95. Lots of rematches, of course, but then you're going to start defending against Alex Wright on house shows and even at Slamboree 95. And you actually give him his first loss in WCW on that show. You would also have successful defenses against guys like Jim Duggan and, of course, Dustin Rhodes, before finally losing it to the Renegade. June 18th, 1995, Great American Bash. This reign ends at 91 days. Man, it feels like it's just a natural progression backwards here. We start with Dusty and then Muta and then Z-Man and then Johnny B. Bad and now Renegade.
You're talking about working your way down the ladder of success. My God. Some of those names, Dustin Rhodes, what a pleasure, to work with all those guys. And I feel bad once you get the whole story about Renegade and find out, that the guy was brought in for what purpose and, with the illusion he was going to be the ultimate warrior and the promises that he was probably made and all the things he was told. And then everything caved in on him and he just had to be himself. He wasn't ready for that spot. Very green. I mean, it was really just a cavalcade of misdirections and stumble steps and just a bad idea, I think. And I never held anything against the guy. I mean, we were all green at one time, but everybody can't do this. And that's the reality of it. And even fewer that can do it, there's very few that can do it really well. And when you come in with those expectations and it starts out, that's Ultimate Warrior behind that screen, and then it's not, and it's like, okay, let's look at what the guy's got, and he's not in a position to impress anybody because he just didn't have enough time in. I don't know if he had aptitude or the right attitude to be in the business because he wasn't there long enough. And I was willing to do whatever they wanted to do. My only hook in the whole thing was I didn't want to take 15 minutes to do it because it was possible to have ran everybody out of every seat, not only in that arena, probably in that entire town, because that was going to stink. I knew it was going to stink, and it was all said and done. It stunk.
Yeah, it's a shame because ultimately Renegade's no longer with us, and I know he couldn't have been happy with the way all of this went down either. It's almost an unwinnable position, but the rumor and innuendo at the time is Steve Austin had just flat refused to put Renegade over. Do you remember hearing that?
Never heard that. And that was, conversations that usually were kept on the QT.
Talk to me a little bit about, and I've never thought about this before, I guess, but the guy behind the character Renegade, did you ever have any conversations with him? I mean, how was he perceived in the locker room? I mean, we've talked a lot about how he was maybe not the best wrestler in the world, but pretty nice guy. I mean, did you have any sort of dealings with him in real life? Of course, we're talking about Richard Wilson, the guy behind the character.
I don't remember the guy being a bad guy or anything, or having a lot of attitude. When I tried to talk to him and we're talking wrestling talk and stuff that we just take for granted. I just remember very, very vividly him having this look, of the deer in the headlights. He didn't know what I just said than the man in the moon. And I was trying to break it down and let him know what I felt we could do, what we shouldn't do, and all these things. And he just had this blank stare on his face. And I could just tell. I mean, you could drop me off on the steps of IBN and say, Arn, they're waiting on you to go run the company. Well, I could walk in the front door just fine. I could probably sit down and greet everybody and make everybody think, well, this guy's confident. He must know what he's doing, But the reality is, I couldn't no more even stay in that room over 30 minutes before somebody would sniff it out and run me out because I'm just not qualified to do that. It didn't take long for me to figure out he just wasn't qualified. And it's back to that, guys that train and go through camps and wrestle around and for sometimes months, sometimes years, and they never, the difference is they never get it. They're allowed a lot of opportunities to get it, and they just don't, because it's a very complex business. And it's one to do well, you've almost got to be, it's almost like God-given ability, because there's so many things that go into being a top shelf performer. There's just very few people can do it, and I just don't think he was cut out for the business.